have popped. It's now officially have popped off, and everybody I believe knows Rise Nation's new roster. I've had a bunch of people come and tell it to me in the chat, and that newest roster is going to be Enzum, Avexis, Franchise, Rushies, and Icy. With Drix going into retirement, Shock and Detox going to other teams. I know we've seen Shock, maybe do a few scrims with Vanquish. I don't know where Detoxes went just yet. Maybe it's PDH. Who knows, But, how do y'all feel about this Rise Nation new roster? And Jack, I'm going to let you kick this one off because I haven't heard much from you in a bit.
It's gonna go like two ways. I really feel like number one, I feel it's gonna go positive. They're gonna have like a honeymoon phase, and things are gonna be cool. They're gonna be slapping people left, right, and center, and then they're gonna slowly progress into like a nice, steady, consistent team after that. Number two, they're gonna hit like a bump in the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel arguments are gonna start between certain individuals in that team. Now, like this is my personal opinion.
Okay.
I feel like because I feel like Avexis and Fran might have different views on what they want the map
Mm.
to go around. Because I know Avexis is an IGL and so is Fran. So I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they might have too many different views on what they want to do. I mean, this is like this is just from my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Could be completely wrong, and it's cool. But I feel like they're gonna headbutt now and again. And then eventually things are gonna start to like, there's gonna be some waves in the water, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna start to be a bit rocky from there onwards. So like, unless they can internally sort out those problems before they start, they're gonna be a good team. Like they're gonna. I can see the potential. They have all the skills. They have the right minds, stuff like that. They have a good coaching staff and Ribs and Chris. So like it's all there. Like the foundations to build your mansion is right there. Whether that
Yes.
mansion will hold up after a like T8 tornado, I
That's
don't
the
know.
question.
And
After
that and that's
after a
that.
TA tornado, is that tornado the icy storm?
Well, I mean, yeah, like it's hard to say because number one, we haven't scrimmed against them. We
Yeah.
start scrims next week, so like it's hard to say. I have my ideas. I've already jotted down some things about the team, just ideas that I might know about.
Mm-hmm.
So like until I see them in scrims, like I can't really say
True.
obviously too much about it. So I want to test the waters with them a lot, and like it's more about feeling what they're feeling and then
Mm-hmm.
getting a vibe from them.
Cool.
But
Cool. Perpetrate. What about you?
yeah.
What's your thought on it?
To be honest, I feel like that Rise Nation roster will be, no doubt, there will be a strong roster. They
Mm-hmm.
will contend up there. My biggest worry with them was when I did first see Franchise and Avexis as them coexisting as two IGLs on one
Mm-hmm.
roster. Seeing what kind of direction they're going to go in, will they lean their trust more towards Fran or towards Avexis? But what I was really interested in was like the dynamic of the roster. It sort of reminded me almost of how UIU is sort of structured. With you have your two voices on the team, like UIU has Explosive and Kenny. Rise, you have your two voices with Fran and Avexis. Then you also have your two Slayers. You have your Powers and Mental and Enzum and Rushies.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have your support Slayer that can always do it all when it's needed and praised and icy. I feel like those two teams. I feel like they match up well with each other. I feel like that Rise will definitely still be a top contender.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing though is that once again the two IGLs on the team, it just makes me feel like there might be some waves in the water, just
Okay.
like Jackal said, and I'm interested to see how that plays out.
Okay. Cool. Great. What about you? Give me your thought on it, and I'm gonna
I
give you
do
guys mine.
agree with what they're saying about the two IGL or two like strong leader aspects, but I also, I mean, what Fran's been competing forever, right? He
Mm-hmm.
he has a lot of maturity and wisdom, and I don't see it. If conflict can be avoided, I think it will be. And I know that he's very smart. I know that Avexis is very smart. So I don't really see it necessarily clashing, right?
Okay.
I mean, they put this roster together
Mm-hmm.
knowing this,
Yep.
right? So there must be some plan. And Chris is a wizard. I don't even want to know what his IQ is. And and Ribs is also very, very smart, and he very analytical as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see that being an issue, right? I guess I just wonder what kind of pace they're going to be playing at.
Hey, well, you know what? That's a good question when it comes down to pace. Now, my thoughts on it, my thoughts on the whole roster change is I was thinking about this morning. Somebody had asked me the questions, and Franny2 came in. He was talking about the whole Avexi's and Fran situation. Now, this Rise Nation roster, you guys, has a coaching staff of Affinity and Ribs. That's gangsta. It has that core three of Quarantine, and that top two sling core of Rise Nation. So the combo of Fran, Icy, Rushies, Inzoom, and Avexi's. Now, I get what you guys are saying about the whole IGL Avexi's versus Fran, but to me, it was a no-brainer. Avexi's takes a step back. All right, Fran been getting you over these last 2 seasons, and he been doing this for years. All right, and it's something to be learned there from franchises. Also, I don't even think it was a debate when it happened. It was like, hey, bro, you got this. Okay, let me see how you do your thing. Let me see how you overcome this team that I struggle with sometimes. So it's a lot to be learned there. It's a lot to be learned from Affinity and Ribs. Now, Avexi's leading up into this point and how he was able to lead that Rise Nation roster based off the teammates who he's teamed up with to this point, that was impressive. It's not hard, it's not easy to be an IGL. It's not easy to keep troops in line and do what you got to do to beat your opponents. And Avexi's is very passionate about this game. So what he's done over that time and the skill he's picked up is going to be able to help him in a more of a kind of support role, right? And this is what I mean by like a kind of a support role. Because you got to ask yourself, who is the core three going to be for this team? Now, I thought about it a few different ways. I thought about it going Inzoom, Avexi's, and Rushies on that front three, with Icy and Fran kind of being these older players kind of supporting on the back, right? Kind of like how Kenny and Explosive plays those back 2 spawns there and filling the gaps for Praised, Mental, and Powers. But the way that Fran plays is that I might rather have Fran in the fight in the forefront because he sees little things that's happening and not everyone sees. Now, Inzoom is a nerd at this game, and he's very meticulous about his gameplay and what he does off that front spine. He is the truth. So Fran doesn't technically have to be that close there, and he can give Inzoom a little bit more leeway, all right, to be a leader there towards the front lines if he wants to and he wants to come back. But let's say you put Fran and Rushies up there in the front because they've been doing this for a while, right? You pair them up with Inzoom and you attach them to the core three and have Ices and Avexi's in the back. Now, Avexi's can kind of go playing home hill. Okay, now Avexi's can go towards those home hill spots if he wants to in those single lanes or kind of filling the gaps for his team. Because I can tell you, as kind of playing IGL on some of my squads, when you make a call out and somebody doesn't fill in those gaps, sometimes you tell yourself that, man, I wish somebody gave me call out so I can just make plays and focus on my gameplay and do what I got to do and just be a great player. I think that would benefit Avexi's a little bit. I think that'll help him out. Let Rushies, Fran, Icy, and Inzoom, with Inzoom next to him, kind of make those plays there off that front line, and do what he got to do. And let Avexi's maybe go home hill, fight some 1v1s, and kind of spread the map out. But he has the intelligence to make plays for his team elsewhere. So I think that's more of a better combo. So I think Avexi's takes a step back on the IGL. And I would like to see Fran in the front fight with Rushies and Inzoom. And kind of Icy and Avexi's taking home hills and filling in gaps. But that's my opinion. We'll see what they've talked about and what they're going to bring towards that pro league. Cool.
Yep.
If they make that work, that will be a good team. Like if Avexi's takes a step back and let's Fran like do the experience thing, then like I feel like it would work. But like again, like internal problems, some things happen inside the team.
It can. But I think that's the best team that you can make to possibly take down UIU.
Peace.